Hello, I'm Steve Ayers, and this is Drupal CRM. Today we're going to cover some of the architecture, the migrations that exist, and what sort of data interoperability we're looking for. I know a lot of people here have laptops. You don't need one, but it might go a little bit easier if you install it on DDEV, and there's a little recipe there with sample data. If you go to the homepage, drupal.org/project/CRM, you can find this here, so you don't have to type it in. But I've included it here for anyone in the future looking at the slides to know where the demo content came from. While anyone might be doing that, do we want to maybe just go around the room and talk a little bit why we might be interested in a CRM or what brought you here today? Pass is an option. Eric, since you're closest, I decided to call on you.
Okay. I'm interested in CRM for academic purposes of research groups and member sites and class sites. I think it's got a great use case.
So academia would be a good. I'm just talking louder so that the mics pick it up.
Right.
And then we have another person here.
Well, I'm interested in CRM because we have two projects where we're going to be implementing it.
That's a good reason to be here.
So I got to figure it out now. I'm the one charged with figuring it out.
Well, we will also be here on Contrib Day, so bring your questions.
That was one of my assignments.
Nice.
I'm Mark. I'm here just because I love data and interoperability. I'm interested in data architecture, data analysis.
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Just why you might be interested in CRM, what brought you here today. Pass is a totally valid option.
Yeah. I used to be really involved in the community. My employer moved away from Drupal, and I'm trying to decide, do I want to leave a good job to do something I enjoy, or keep the paychecks coming?
Those are important questions. We've got another person in the back.
I'm especially interested in the migration part of it, actually.
Okay, good migrations. That's what we're here to talk about. I don't want to force anyone, but also if you are interested in sharing.
Sure, I just want to learn something new.
Okay, cool. And then,
Yeah, I'm a freak for open source software. I currently have a CRM at Espo CRM. Is that the right choice? I don't know. Let's find out.
sorry, I'm not familiar with that one, but I'm interested to learn more. And then we got one more person.
I was invited. I'm just here.
Okay.
Just learning whatever. I just graduated, so just seeing what's around.
Glad to have new people here. That's what it's about.
I'm volunteering with a nonprofit that has pretty much had one employee for a long time who knew everyone they contacted, and now they're trying to get more people reaching out for fundraising. And I want to make sure that we're not hitting up the same people from different contacts.
Excellent. If there's questions you have, just interrupt me as I go. I'm trying to get better at this, so I'm here for your benefit. I am Steve Ayers. I am the founder of Knowledge Learning Labs. That is an avatar of me, and that is the company logo. You can find me on most of the socials as BlueGeek9. If you want, I'm available for paid engagements, but that's not what this is about. So why would you even want to talk to me? Right, I've been doing this for 20 years. I've got 15 years of doing stuff with Drupal. And then I spent a solid decade in the Fortune 500 where not the only thing I did, but basically what I did was migrate data out of PeopleSoft into some sort of Drupal site to do reporting, because while PeopleSoft is not the worst possible CRM, their implementation dated back to the 90s, so yeah, pretty bad. So I have a lot of experience migrating data. I maintain Drupal CRM, but I'm also a maintainer of CRM Core, different projects, And then Drupal CRM has been about a 2 to 3 year project, so there's been a fair amount of labor put into this, so I'm hoping it's useful. And let's step back and ask, why would we even want to use Drupal? I know that's kind of a strange question since we're at a conference about Drupal, but just to sort of recap here, it's got a dedicated security team. It's been around for a long time. right? There are thousands of active developers. It's modular by design. So, right, it's a pretty good place to be. So why would you even want to make a CRM in Drupal? Well, it's all those reasons we gave before on why you'd want to choose Drupal, but, right, it's got a good cache system, fields, entities, views, pipelines. All that boring stuff is already done for us, right? I'm not telling anything new here. Right, so our goal is we want to provide feature parity with CiviCRM. I assume everyone has some experience or exposure with that. I think you kind of are forced to if you've been in this space long enough. So, right, I want to make a distinction first between CRM the project and CRM the ecosystem. The project's just this boring dependency. It's essentially an address book that doesn't really do anything by itself. But the ecosystem, that's where all the cool feature-rich stuff is, right? So the same reasons why we chose Drupal as our dependencies might be the same reasons why you would want to choose Drupal CRM for your next project. All the boring stuff's already done. Right, this is just, I apologize for all the text. These are separate projects that exist in the ecosystem. A lot of them are migration-based. We're not going to discuss all of them, but if you go to the home page of the project, there is a link for other projects that extend this. It will show you the entire ecosystem. So, right, I did promise we were going to talk about architecture, migration, and data interoperability today. So, let's take a look at our architecture, right? We're Drupal native and core first. So, we don't have a lot of dependencies. About half of them are in core. In the name field, I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, but it's just meant to represent a human name. Address field, I think everyone's familiar with. Inline entity form will show you in a demo why that's useful and how we use it. And primary entity reference, that's a fork of the core entity reference. It lets you have a primary that'll also maybe make more sense in the demo. But we try to keep a light install since we know it's going to be a dependency for other projects. And then these are integrations, right? You don't have to have these modules installed, but if you do, everything will work as you expected, right? I think one of the things we've done in the past as developers is we've abused nodes. We've made them things that they shouldn't be, including people or organizations. And so if you're coming from that environment, you would expect nodes to work with all these, so we want to make sure contacts work with all of them. Here's some other planned integrations. I know commerce isn't core, but it's very popular, so it's just worth mentioning. Workspace, I think, is pretty important given migrations. I just want to pause on that one for a moment, right? I don't know if everyone here is familiar with Workspace or the gist of it, but you might be making a number of content edits to your site, and you'd like to have some place that isn't live, but it's on the same server. Well, what if you could do that with your contacts? You migrate in, you import new contacts from a system, and you could then handle merging them and making sure they were unique before you pushed it all live. So, I did promise you to talk about the architecture. If you take a look here, contact entity, it's actually two entities. Well, actually multiple entities, but these are everything you would come to expect from Drupal. They're revisionable, they're fieldable, they're bundleable, so you've got different contacts out of the box, person, an organization, or households. And then we have these other things called contact methods, right, like your email address or your telephone number, how people would actually contact them. These are separate entities. So if you needed to track something, say, about a specific email address, like it bounced, you could just add a field to it. We use that inline entity reference form, or inline entity form, so that this all will appear as a single entity in the form and in the display. Relationships, pretty straightforward. Right, you might have a member or a supervisor type of relationship. It's just two contacts linked together. We'll see more of that in the demo. So a lot of people have opinions on what CRM stands for. Some people will say it's a customer relationship database or a constituent relationship database. I am super literal. The two entities we just went over are contact and relationship. Contact relationship management. If you want to create a customer relationship management system out of this, you totally can. I should maybe have mentioned that I did not come up with these images. They did come out of the Drupal CRM community. It's not a huge community, but they're apparently fanatical. So let's see here. We're going to do a demo. So this is the demo content that we saw in that opening slide. Right? It's Simpson's content. I think everyone here knows who Marge Simpson is. She's got an email address, telephone number. She lives on Evergreen Terrace. She's got a bunch of relationships. We can take a look at those. Right? She's got some children. We can add one. I don't know what we're going to add it to. But these are all the possibilities. I don't know. Let's say she got a job. Right, so questions before I go over any other stuff? I don't want to just sit up here and talk about stuff, but yeah.
How easy is it to kind of control the kind of the destination after, like, you want to add a contact going back to like your original screen, or versus like going on to say.
That was a good question, right? I think I understand it. I want to repeat it so everyone understands. How easy would it be to have that just go back to the same contact page? We should have included a destination in the query argument. So I would ask you to add that to the issue queue as a feature or task request. I mentioned earlier about how we use inline forms. So, right, if we needed to create a new email address, right, it's just right here. It's a separate entity, but it appears as the same. I'm going to just type something in. And then, right, you could choose which one you want to be the primary, right? If you are sending an email, you probably want some sort of default to use unless there's some specific reason why you would want to use their work or personal email address. You get the same thing for phone and address. Again, this is just stuff you would come to expect. This is the address field. There is some computed fields. I don't know, like you would expect to see for age if you set somebody's birthday. Goes ahead and will automatically calculate their age, though I probably should have chosen a different year so they're not 11. I spoke a little bit about user integration, although I probably should have maybe spoke about it a little bit more. We do allow you to map users one-to-one to a person contact, right? Because a person and a user are conceptually like the same person. But you might have data you want to store, right? So where should that go? Should that go to the contact? Should that go on the user? Well, we give you the option to take the fields that are on the contact and map them onto the user. So these aren't duplicating the same data. This is taking the data from the contact and mapping it. So through the magic of code, they're exposed as fields. Age is a computed field, so you can only show it on the display. You can't add it to the form. We have an access model here, right? Basically, user entity, if you can edit the user, you can edit these fields. So I've just gone ahead and I've selected a bunch of them, and now we're going to go take a look at the user profile.
So would this just make writing queries more efficient, or what is the advantage of this relationship?
It could make queries more efficient. But it's supposed to also let so CRM is kind of like a back office application in a lot of ways, but you probably want your users to be able to update their own email address and their own telephone number and their own address. And you want a way to do that, but you also you want a way to do that doesn't require them to have access to the CRM back office. And so the user edit form seems like the ideal place for that. I'm hoping this is going to work, since it doesn't seem to be working as expected. Oh, that might be why. Let's hit save again. Fingers crossed, right? Okay, well that's embarrassing. I don't know how I can explain that without actually showing it.
All our technology aims to embarrass us at the most critical moments.
It's well, it does have that user.
When we need it most.
Oh, that's right. I need this. I need that box checked. Okay. Okay.
Process design.
All right. Here we go. Here we go. Like date of birth and address are now exposed. So I don't really. We're gonna do date of birth.
You're on the user edit screen right
Yes, this is the user edit screen, but these are fields for the contact.
now? Right, you just came from the contact screen.
Well, I came from the configuration screen from contacts
Well, that's what I meant.
because I wanted to get this mapping set up correctly. I just did the install before the demo, so.
Yeah.
So if you're just a regular user, you don't even know where this just looks like a field to you, right? So you don't have to know that there's a CRM installed. You don't need to know how it's implemented. We'll go ahead and save that. And then if we come over here, right, it's also got an age now because we mapped that from the contact. We're going to go ahead and take a look at that contact. Just to, oh, right. Right, see, it still says 25 years old here. If we go in and edit this, it's going to have the same birth date information. Everyone on the same page so far? Cool. Cool feature?
Right, and this is the contact
Yep.
page then?
Yeah, this is the contact.
Well, the contact view page.
Yeah.
Right.
And so this contact is mapped to the to user 1. So there's also some permission stuff involved. If you did have access to the back office, you can assign permissions to edit your own contact. There are some issues in the backlog that we're working on so that you can use this relationship from your user to your contact to grant access to other contacts based off the relationship your contact has with them. I feel like I just shouted a bunch of words, so I'm going to try that again. Right? If you're a parent and you have children in the system, based off that relationship, you could have permissions to view or edit your children. And so that would be another way, since only users can log in. Let's see. Oh, that one I'm not logged into. We're going to, I guess, go back to the presentation. It's a cool image. We did discuss migrations, right? And I had an image about a solar system earlier. So the analogy is that migrations are like an asteroid belt. They're not particularly complicated, but there's lots of them. So we do have this one project, CRM Migration Plus. It's a base project that the others inherit. We're all bringing stuff to the same destination, so there's a lot of reusable code. The other thing to keep in mind is these contact methods are separate migration files because they are separate entities. But our base form presents it as a single one for the migration as well. We've got nodes working, so there's a migration project for nodes, right? We've all done this, and I've mentioned it before. So you can just do a straight inline migration from your project. If you're using CRM Core from Drupal 7, we've got a migration for that one. OnePageCRM, that was listed this morning as an in-kind sponsor of MidCamp. MidCamp may or may not be interested in migrating from OnePage to Drupal CRM, but that might be in the works. Anyone else involved with a camp or some sort of event platform might also be interested in migrating? And then also we mentioned that in progress we've got CSVs as well as RedHen CRM, so anything that used to be like Drupal 7 CRM related, we're trying to provide a migration path forward for you. We were really hoping to have the CSV done before this, but we will be here on Contrib Day, and hopefully we will have the CSV migration an alpha release so we can start migrating data in. Yeah, go ahead.
Salesforce on your radar too?
It's on my radar, but it's not a priority. Just CSV files are the common denominator. Spreadsheets are very similar and share a lot of overlapping code. CiviCRM, in terms of like other CRMs out there, would be the one I would be more interested in spending my time on. But being able to migrate Salesforce is, I'm aware of the Salesforce suite and the API and that we can do it. And we have a project for managing external IDs. And so Salesforce doesn't use integer IDs. They have some sort of other, there's some 3-letter acronym that I forget at the moment that they use for identification, but it supports that as well as GUIDs and any other regular expression you can think of. I don't know if I really answered your question, but is that heavily in what your organization is doing?
They do have a Salesforce instance, and we probably don't need to be paying for it.
Anyone else want to share what CRM they're currently using? No pressure.
Like I said, I'm using Espo CRM, and I've got my whole stack is open source. Espo is just a piece of that. I've got a Hermes agent as an AI agent that I'm working with, and I've just queried. It's got its own soul and everything that pertains to my operation, my business, and I just asked it, how does Drupal CRM compare to, how does Espo CRM compare to Drupal for my use case? And it gave me, spit out an answer. Bottom line, not for us. Just because we're so heavily integrated in Espo, it's purpose built. But I just had to come and see, and listen, to know for sure. I appreciate your time.
No worries. Other people, if they want to share their CRM, I've heard of most of them, but Espo is a new one, so I want to maybe speak with you afterwards.
Sure.
Just to.
I'll take, you can take a look at it. Absolutely.
All right, we've got like 20 minutes left.
Dance party? No.
Well, data interoperability isn't terribly long, so I'm hoping you have other questions. Otherwise, it might be a dance party, right? So you want to get data in. We talked about that a little bit. There's a bunch of migrations, so if you've got one that's not on there, let us know. But you also want to get your data out. It does work with the JSON API, though since we have contact methods as separate entities, they show up as references, and that may not be exactly what you want. It also does work with the standard REST module, but again, by default, it only shows the individual entities. Schema.org, I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, but they have an idea of how data should be represented on the web. And so we could write a custom module that takes a REST resource to present it as a unified entity. I think that's where we're going. I know that schema.org is one of a handful of competing data standards. If anyone else is familiar with ones they'd like to share, I'd be interested. Okay, that's cool. We can maybe talk later. But being able to get the data out in a not just a usable way, but a way that other systems are already expecting. I believe Power BI has a plugin or some way to already recognize schema.org data, so that could be useful. The REST views module, right? You could do this out of the box with the REST views module, though it would be some work. I don't know if everyone's familiar with that, but you create an object in a REST view, and it serializes it as JSON. I did mention we would be here on Drupal Contrib Day. That's going to be the third day. So if you have questions, comments, or CRMs you would like to have migrated, we can take a look at it then as well. I think I have just one more slide, so do you have questions, comments, concerns? Because if not, we could have that dance party.
I could fire up the tunes.
Do you have integrations with contact methods, like, I don't know, emailing campaigns and stuff?
Good question. There's a CRM email project. The goal of that one is to handle being able to send one-off emails as well as being able to do campaigns, but also to be able to either send it to an SMTP server, but integrate with either MailChimp or one of the other hundreds of other providers out there, right? There's not a huge amount of progress on that one, but we did start working on it at DrupalCon Chicago this year. I should have put a timeline on this presentation for the project. That's what I should have done. We're hoping to have a stable release probably in 3 months, or maybe not stable release, a release candidate. We already are providing schema updates, so if you were to use it today, you can apply updates and go forward. We're not going to break your stuff. Emails are a big deal. Also, you want to be able to get emails that people sent to you, right, I imagine? So.
Right.
Just on the basic data structure, so with the email being an entity instead of just a field, is that just how most CRMs work?
I don't know if it's most CRMs. I know CiviCRM. I don't like to use Civi as a standard, but it's open source, so you can read the code. It does do that, but it treats them all as separate entities. It doesn't have like a type system the way that it does for contacts.
And what is the advantage of not just putting it in inline field?
So we have another field on the address for the detail. So like if it is your home address, this is on all the contact methods, but also like if your email address bounces, you want to be able to track that, and you can just add a field to the entity type as opposed to editing the field schema, right? So that's one of the advantages. Another advantage is shared contact methods. So if you're all in the same household, you probably all have the same physical address. So you could have just the household own the address, but everyone share it. Same idea with bouncing like email addresses, or if your telephone number's bad, or just. Also, if you want to create a leaflet map, you just add the geocoder field or the geo field to the address and do a little bit of configuration magic, and boom, right? So everything would work sort of like you would expect as a Drupal developer.
Do you have a web form, I'm forgetting the exact name, the handlers after you submit a web form?
I am familiar with those. We should have those. I don't know where we would put them at the moment, though.
Yeah.
The answer is no, we don't have them currently, but yes, there should be a way to create a web form and hit submit, and that data go to the web form, but also create a contact if you want. That also should be something you add to the, if you want to add to the issue.
There might be a handler that would already do that. But
Oh.
Hook form alter.
Just in time. No time for dance party.
Well, I'm very glad that everybody came. I know 10 a.m. is a bit early, especially for dense material. There is some swag up there, including hats if anyone's interested, but you shouldn't feel obligated to take it. It's not like I'm counting or tracking you.
I feel obligated.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
I must come up there now and have swag.
Good.
I'm covered in swag now. I've got the socks.
You got the
last
Drupal
year.
socks?
Yeah, look at these. I don't know who gave me these socks. Yeah. Okay. These are Drupal socks. So I'm getting swag. Yeah.
Any features people are particularly excited about that I didn't mention or that we need?
I think that email would be the biggest one.
Email and, so I didn't include a timeline like I should have. Case management and membership management are going to be the priority for the second half of 2026. I'm hoping other people take on email as a priority, but I imagine I will end up taking it on. But
So is this your project?
oh yeah, I founded the company, and the company and the project are separate, but I do most of the company.
Okay.
What's the difference between core CRM and the CRM?
Sure. Drupal CRM is probably closest spiritual ancestor is CRM Core 8.x-2.x, an unreleased branch.
All right, and that's not in
They're completely
10,
separate
11.
projects. They're
CRM Core's not in 10, 11, 12.
yeah. So CRM Core, the main maintainer of that, I'm gonna stop the recording just because.
Okay.